Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here, back with another guide for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This time I'm going to show you how to complete the two-toed bout Ribbit Me this fight in the battle arena in the Gold Saucer. This bout has you select two party members and you are inflicted with the toad status effect the entire time. Wearing a white cape does not negate this, and I know that because I tried and I had the white cape equipped the entire time and nothing happened. So, there's 5 fights. Each one has a bit of a different strategy. For this first one, you want to basically start with one person, get the riot troopers to focus on them, and then once they do, you want to then switch over to the other person. This way they can attack them from behind, just like that. Pressing square once will have your toad stick out their tongue pretty far, actually. It reaches a pretty big distance. And then for these Junon troopers, it will pull them towards the toad. And then you can hold square after pressing it once, and you'll do that leap attack there. It does a lot of stun to these enemies. And then after that, just use the leapfrog ability, and then you'll deal a ton of damage and get rid of them. This fight, you're really not going to take hardly any damage, so don't worry about sort of standing in front of them. They don't attack very often, and a lot of times their attacks miss because you are so short, and unless they're stabbing forward, they're not really going to hit you. Okay, so that's the first fight. Again, just get behind them, lick them, and then use leapfrog when they're stunned. The combat for frogs actually has some depth, and what I mean by that is when you press square once, you lick, and if you hold it after that, you do that leap right there. However, if you mash square instead, and you just keep pressing it over and over, you'll sort of do this like toad karate, and we'll use that in a little bit. But if you want, you can use this first fight as a way to really familiarize yourself with those two styles of combat for the frog, both the jump right there, and then the sort of toad karate, which I did just there. That spin kick is that toad karate. So notice here, I'm just pressing square, I'm not holding it ever, and I'm doing this 3-hit combo. It's effective against these guys, but it's going to be really effective later on. Alright, so that is the first round. The second round has us go up against a couple of wolves, and this strategy requires us to either get perfect parries or just avoid the attacks entirely. For the wolves, when you avoid it, they have a chance of getting stunned automatically or pressured automatically. This will really only ever happen with the throat clamp ability right there. That one is a guaranteed pressure if it misses. The other ones, it can happen, but it's just a much lower chance. But once you have these guys down, just use leapfrog twice, and they're dead. So really, really simple. For the spin swipe, you can perfect parry that, or perfect guard it just by pressing R1 at the correct time. It's actually a pretty generous window, and you'll see me here. I'm literally just waiting for this thing to attack me, because that's all I want, is just that perfect parry. Dealing 20, 40, 50 damage to this thing one at a time just doesn't do anything, but if you get the perfect block on a spin swipe or you avoid the throw clamp, you're good to go. As you see there, perfect block, you're immune to the damage. It immediately gets pressured almost full. One hit stuns it, and you're good. Alright, so this third fight is a little tricky, and this is where you need to learn that guarding as a frog basically causes all the damage to miss you because most enemies are really tall, and these guys are actually flying enemies. So right off the bat, if you have some sort of preemptive materia or maybe one of the weapon spheres that gives you bonus ATB when a fight starts, just use leapfrog right away. As soon as you get in their face, just start using it. Because you're going to deal a ton of stun. And this fight in particular can go on for quite a while because of this spinning move that they do. You really can't do much, especially as a frog, while this is going on. So all you want to do is just hold R1 to block, and it will just fly over you the whole time. They will always follow up with the barb attack. That is your opportunity for a perfect block to build some stun. But other than that, just hold R1 to duck under the spin, and then you're pretty much good from there. Okay, so for the fourth fight, this is against 2 small cactuar enemies. For this fight, you want to delay your attacks. And what I mean by that is you want to press square to get the lick, and then wait for the toad to fully reset its animation, and then press square again to get another lick. Because as you're about to see here, the licks build a lot of stun. However, because the cactuars are always moving, what ends up happening is your other attacks will miss. So you're better off just pressing square, waiting, pressing square, and waiting. For these Cactrot enemies, using an ATB ability on them will automatically give you a full pressure bar and stun them. However, landing it is very difficult, and I got very lucky in the beginning there because they are just moving around so much. So you're better off just licking, waiting, licking, waiting. Okay, for this 5th and final phase, this may as well be a 1v1 fight because the AI of your partner, no matter who it is going to be kind of dumb. So, bombs get pressured if you attack them while they are breathing fire. However, you're really not going to be able to deal much damage to them because they just have a very odd hitbox that the Toad really can't reach except for with a lick. So, when the bomb swells, do not touch it. It will swell twice. It'll sort of puff fire twice. If you attack it during that moment, it will automatically counterattack with a small fireball. The strategy for this is to use Bubble Breath. Just keep mashing triangle. It's a 3-hit combo, and what you want to do is you want to mash triangle, get bubbles on the screen, and then have the bomb run into them. As that happens, it will deal damage, and then it will also build pressure, and you will also get healed. As you saw there, when the bubble explodes because the enemy touches it, a green heal sphere will move towards you. It is slow. It's not instantaneous, so if you're like low on health and you're trying to rely on these things, as I'm about to do in a little while, just know that it's not an instantaneous thing. It has to travel to you, and it does have a long travel time. So like I said, just keep using Bubble Breath. If it manages to touch one while it's breathing fire, automatic stun with pressure. You do have to do some work to keep building it. You got to keep repeating this process. But as you're about to see in a little bit, Cloud's going to die because I'm going to switch over to Yuffie because I'm not good at like perfect blocking these fireballs. And so he's going to die. But anytime that your partner sort of gets aggro of the enemy and ends up taking damage, they're really never going to block correctly. So they're just going to eat fireballs. They're going to eat the flame blasts. They just eat a ton of damage. So like I said, this may as well just be a 1v1 fight. So as you can see, all I am doing is I am just spamming Bubble Breath and then standing in front of the bubbles, and then the bomb is chasing me and walking through said bubbles, and then that is what is healing me, and that is what is dealing the majority of the damage and a lot of the pressure. Whenever you have an opportunity, if you do get in close, go ahead and use Leapfrog. Chances are it will actually miss, which is kind of unfortunate. I've had them miss all hits of the combo. It's missed entirely before. I've also had it so you can always lick it because it's always floating and the tongue goes really far, but any follow-up hit from the lick will likely miss, and that is extremely frustrating. So Leapfrog, as you saw there, really doesn't deal much damage. The majority of my damage is actually coming from these bubbles, which I just think is crazy. As the fight drags on, and it just goes on for longer and longer, and the bomb gets low on health, it will start using an ability where if you were to attack it while it's using that ability, it will counterattack with a self-destruct, and then you're dead. So basically, this fight is only going to get slower as it starts to go on. And I'm not sure if there's a way to like successfully do this with both party members, maybe alternating as the fireballs are coming out. I don't really know. Just because of all the damage that they take, I kind of don't think so. But when it starts announcing that it's in this destruct mode, that is when you want to stop attacking. If the bubbles hit it, it's okay. It's really any direct damage is going to cause the counterattack. But if it touches the bubble, it doesn't matter. It's not the end of the world. It won't counterattack at that point. Explosion imminent. This is that ability that I was talking about. Just don't attack as it's happening. Use this opportunity to pull back, spawn more bubbles, get it to follow you once it stops using that ability. But from here on out, it's kind of not going to do anything else. It's just going to use Explosion Imminent. It may shoot a fireball or two. It may cycle it sort of flare, but it's really never going to do much else. So just use this opportunity to kite it around, lick it when you feel confident, like maybe right after Explosion Imminent. If it hasn't used it in a while, go for it. But when it is using Explosion Imminent, do not touch it. Just use that opportunity to spawn bubbles and start moving the bomb in another direction and line yourself up. But that's it. That's the whole fight. It'll go down eventually. It does take a long time. Luckily, there's no timer on this fight. This is just a long process. But this is the puzzle, and that's how I did it. If you have another strategy that worked for you, please leave it in the comments, because I tried this for over an hour before I figured this one out, and I would love to know if there's something simpler for my next playthrough. But that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll do my best to help you out. If you're looking for more guides for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, please subscribe to the channel so you get alerted when new guides go live. If you're interested in supporting the channel monetarily, please consider becoming a channel member by clicking the join button below this video. You can also leave a super thanks by clicking the heart icon below this video. Don't forget to join the community Discord. The link for that is in the description below. As always, I'm SweetJohnnyCage. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.